I start meetings with one question: how can I bless you? And even in the corporate arena, if I don't ask that question, I'm saying in my head, how can I bless this person? How can I walk with them in life? And how can we go out there and transform all the life opportunities for them and for those that they serve and love?
Welcome to Engage Presents. I'm Engage co-founder and president Jake Olson. In this interview series, I ask Engage talent the most common questions we hear from event planners to help you get to know them and their stories in 15 minutes or less. Thanks for listening. Welcome to another episode of Engage Presents. I'm Engage President Jake Olson. Alongside with me today, Ty Bledsoe. Ty is a leadership development and teamwork transformation DEI expert. He gives a lot of keynotes. Ty, thank you so much for joining us today.
Jake, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Ty, you've been in the corporate world for a long time. You've seen a lot, done a lot. Let's first get to just how has faith played a role in what you bring to leadership?
Faith is the core of everything I do, to be honest. That's not a buzzword. That's not a tagline. It's not a branding pitch, right? My story, my origin story is all rooted in faith. And we'll probably have a chance to talk about that and such forth. But I'm a third generation licensed and ordained clergy. My father and my maternal grandfather were pastors and were mentors of me growing up. And so I've spent my life rooted in faith. But faith is the essence of what I serve in as a corporate leader, as a leader in the corporate arena, as a solutions architect, as a problem solver. Faith is core. And so for me, it's about serving. It's not about titles. It's not about power. It's about how can I go out and serve people? And I'll just tell you, the key thing that I still do today, and I've been doing it for about 20 years since I was student body president at the University of California, Davis, I start meetings with one question: how can I bless you? And even in the corporate arena, if I don't ask that question, I'm saying in my head, how can I bless this person? How can I walk with them in life? And how can we go out there and transform all the life opportunities for them and for those that they serve and love?
Amazing. That's a beautiful question to ask. So when you are kind of in these meetings and going through your process, how do you kind of balance data and the human side of leadership and kind of bringing and meshing those two things together?
What a fantastic question. So look, I'm an Amazonian, but also I'm an Altoid from Alto Pharmacy. I'm a Bellhead from AT&T and such forth. Those have been my corporate journey for the last 17 plus years in the corporate arena. So I'm a data first, data oriented leader, right? I'm going to look at the data. The data is going to tell me where the problem statement is, where the issues are, but also what it gives me potential pathways of how to build and work backwards towards the solution. But to be honest, the data speaks for itself because it's objective, and in the business community, you need data, right? But to be candid, people don't care what you know until they first know you care. So for me, I need to bring empathy. I need to be, just to be candid, I need to have discernment, right? As a leader, as a faith leader, I need to have discernment to really investigate what the problem is, but also find out how we make it to the solution. So data is important, but when it comes down to it, I have to listen. I have to listen. I have to have discernment. I have to find ways. I'll say this. Some of my superpowers, one of them involves earning trust. I have this ability for, goodness gracious, 30 or so years of my life that I can be able to just, someone can open up to me within sometimes minutes or a little bit more, and they can tell me what's on their heart. They can tell me their aspirations, their dreams, some of their disappointments, and really allow me to understand, okay, now I read your heart. Now I can discern what the root cause is. And now we can work backwards to the problem. And that becomes a unique superpower that I've been able to use as a business leader, as an entrepreneur, as a communicator, particularly as a communicator. Because the key thing, Jake, I just said, I'm an entrepreneur, right? Yes, I'm a published author, but I do not sell books. I'm a podcaster, but I do not sell information. I'm a former lobbyist. I do not sell relationships with members of Congress and the Texas or California state legislatures. I'm an entrepreneur and I sell inspiration. That's what I sell. And if anything else that I sell is solutions to problems. And so the key thing about that is, yeah, data is important, but I need to be able to listen well. I need to be able to have good discernment. I need to be able to think big, right? And display customer obsession. And that's a big thing, because if you can become obsessed, if it's a parishioner at your church, if it's somebody in the community that needs better schools, better running water. If it's a teenager to someone who's mature who needs a better opportunity when it comes to career planning, utilizing their gifts, planning for retirement. If you're obsessed about solving their problem and serving them and blessing them, everything else becomes easy after that.
I love that. Absolutely love that. And you've mentioned a few things here. Trust. You've mentioned, letting people know you care. Obviously, all under the umbrella of serving. For someone who may have never done that before or struggles, who doesn't have that innate gift of people opening up to them or trusting them, what are some tangible things they can do, to serve, to earn trust, to bring trust to a new team, again, to kind of build that relationship there, as you just said, to where they're coming at it knowing and with the objective of serving, rather than in this world everyone just wants to, hey, what can I get from you?
Key thing, I have two recommendations for those who are listening and those who are watching. First, be authentic. If you are authentic, if you are your true authentic self, you have to bring all the fakeness and no, listen, there's no future in your fronting, as the hip hop song would say when I grew up as a kid. So just be authentic. If you're authentic, people will see you who you are. So if you have some opportunities to improve your authenticity, then that's sometimes you need to spend with your therapist, with your spouse, with your partner in the mirror, go on some long walks. But first, be authentic, because if you're not authentic, you're going to get caught up and it's going to not look good for your brand. Second thing you need to do is just listen. Listen. God gave us 2 ears and one mouth for a reason, right? Listen twice as much as you speak. And if you listen, people will tell you what they think about themselves, about the organization, about their needs. And if you listen right, they would tell you what they think about you, right? So you got to listen, you got to be authentic. And if you do that, you start to be able to earn someone's trust. Trust is something that takes time, as we say in Spanish, right? It's tiempo, right? Necesito tiempo. You need time, right? But if you give it enough time and you're authentic and you listen and you put those together. And then the other thing I would say this, for those of you who this may be new to you, the key thing that you want to be able to do outside of listening and being authentic is you want people to understand that you are obsessed with their journey. You're obsessed. As we say in Amazon, you want to have customer obsession. So if you're obsessed with my mission to grow Undisputed LLC and to reach people around the world as a communicator and as a consultant, if you were obsessed with it, at some point I would say, oh, Jake, he understands my obsession. And my obsession is something he understands. And thus I feel I can trust him with my vision. If you do those things, you will start to earn people's trust. And then it becomes natural. And if it becomes natural, then you just do it as second nature.
I love that. So when you bring this message to corporations, to organizations, tell us what it's like to work with Ty, from kind of front to end. What is it like to, if I was to book you, to work with Ty?
I would say this, and I'm going off of feedback I received from clients and customers over the many years. The one thing is going to be, I love building authentic relationships rooted in trust, right? And I call it art, right? Authentic relationships rooted in trust, which means I'm going to be authentic. I'm going to work on listening. I'm going to ask many questions because I was raised by a lawyer, right? My dad was a lawyer. And the thing I learned really, really young is if you don't ask the right questions, you won't be able to deliver, right? You got to ask questions. So I'm going to ask the client questions about the organization's culture and what are some of their problems, what are some of their issues, right? And also asking the client, what is your ideal outcome immediate, 6 months later, and even 2 years out, right? Because I believe in ministry, we use this term in ministry called vision casting, right? So I want to cast that vision. Where do you want to go? What is your moonshot, right? I want to know what your moonshot is because that gives me a clear trajectory of what I'm aiming for. The next thing is going to be, I'm going to have fun. I use the F word. I want to have fun. I want you to enjoy working with me. I want to enjoy working with you. Listen, I don't believe in doing transactions, Jake. So if I work with any organization of any size, I want to be an authentic relationship rooted in trust. I want you to be able to tell me what your end result goal is because I want to help you achieve it, but I also want to have fun with you, right? I want to build rapport with you. I want to understand what it's like in your life. I want to understand what it's like on a daily grind or on the daily enjoyment and such forth. The next part about it is it's going to be a collaboration, right? I believe in collaborating. So I want to be transparent about what I'm going to talk about, what we're going to show, if there's going to be any visuals, if we're going to bring any new data points and such forth. The next thing I want to do, I'm really interested in experience what a day in a life is. And so when often, if I have a speaking engagement, I'll go to the organization or to the community a day in advance and spend time and meet and greets and breakfasts and lunches and such forth. I just was in Wichita Falls not too long ago for a keynote speech for their MLK breakfast event. I went out there the day before and I spent time with the mayor and with the interim city manager, and I spent time over at the U.S. Air Force Base, and I spent time going to the different communities and spent time with faith-based leaders and with community volunteers because I wanted to be able to understand the culture. So when I spoke the next morning to about 500 leaders throughout the community, I was able to speak about specific conversations and looking people in the eyes, and it really resonated with the organization. So I think that'll be the process, and the process I think would be fun and collaborative. And outside of that, that's all I probably would say on that one.
No, that's awesome, Ty. And just obviously hearing everything you had to say about, everything beforehand, trust, listening, and then putting it in context when giving that talk, as you just mentioned that example. We really see that, and we really appreciate you trusting us with that mission. Ty, is there anything else, anything that you want to say at the ending here as a message that we're leaving?
Well, Jake, I'll say this, a couple of things. First, if your organization is looking for a keynote speaker, right, a motivator that will both inspire your organization, but also bring tangible, proven results that will increase talent retention, that would increase talent engagement, that will infuse a culture of inclusivity, click on my profile with Engage, right?
Well, with that grace, you're going to do powerful things. You have done powerful things, Ty. We're very happy that we get to be along with you in this journey to help you do those powerful things. So, as Ty mentioned, visit letsengage.com. You can check out his profile, TyBledsoe.com. You can check out all Ty has to offer. Thank you, Ty, for joining us today. Again, go out there and be like Ty said, listen, be authentic, and earn people's trust in that way. You'll go far. So, thank you, Ty. Stay tuned for more Engage Presents.
Jake.